Good evening and welcome to our Thursday Mindfulness ZEN. Now starting at a later time of 8:30 p.m. Malaysia time, and we will start all our meditation classes at this time now, so to allow those of you getting back from work to get to your PCs or your tablets or whatever, and also maybe have had eaten dinner before starting this meditation. So I hope that this later start time will prove more convenient or amenable to you. Let me know in the comments if you have any issues with it, and we'll listen to whatever you say and take it into consideration. So tonight, we're going to talk about compassion for difficult people. It's not an easy thing to do, but we're going to discuss how we could do it. And before we do that, we're going to do 30 minutes of metta, also known as loving kindness meditation. So let's begin by adopting a comfortable, relaxed, but alert posture. Close your eyes, or if you like to keep your eyes open, open them slightly and gaze downwards with a soft focus. Allow yourself to settle in to the meditation as you breathe in and then out. Notice the sensation of breathing. And with each out-breath, allow your stress or tensions that you've accumulated during the day to fall away. Loving kindness practice helps us develop a greater sense of compassion and connection with ourselves and others. So we make the intention to offer good wishes to others. So we let this power of intention lead the way. And we begin by offering loving kindness to ourselves, repeating these 4 simple phrases in your own time, at your own rhythm. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. Repeat these phrases silently, and if you ever get distracted or your mind wanders off, don't worry. Just bring yourself back gently and then start over again. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. Now, bring to mind someone who has been kind to you or good to you. Or maybe you have never met them, but they're someone who inspired you a lot from afar. See if you can think of someone like that. Get an image of them. Say their name silently to yourself. Bring them to mind and offer them these loving kindness wishes. It's like offering a blessing to them. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. It's totally normal for your mind to wander off or for you to get distracted. When you notice that happening, don't worry about it. Not a mistake. You haven't done anything wrong. It's totally normal. Try to let go of whatever has been distracting you and bring yourself gently back to repeating the phrases again. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Next, try to think of a neutral person. A neutral person is someone who you do not have strong likes or dislikes towards, and you probably don't know them very well. You may see them occasionally. They may be your checkout person at the supermarket, the mailman, or the person you see when you get your coffee from the cafe in the mornings. See if you can think of someone like that. Someone who you don't have any strong feelings towards. Bring them to mind, and then with the same spirit of generosity and gift giving, offer them these wishes of loving kindness. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Next, we're going to offer loving kindness to a difficult person in our life. So try not to choose the most difficult person in your life, but bring to mind someone who you find is a little difficult to have to deal with. An easy, difficult person. So see if you can think of someone like that. Recall their face, their presence. Say their name silently to yourself and bring them to mind. Then offer them these words of loving kindness with the same generosity of spirit. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. And finally, let us offer loving kindness wishes to all beings. So these are beings who you're aware of, as well as those who you're not aware of. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. So take your time and slowly open your eyes and bring your attention back to the room again. And thank you very much for your practice. So tonight we're going to talk a little about having compassion for difficult people. Not an easy thing to do, I must admit, and even I find it myself is also a challenge. I think most people do. Even if they've had many, many years of practice, there are certain people who just trigger us or push our buttons. And that's just how it is. Because we encounter them, all the difficult people all the time. It's just part of life. It can be a co-worker, a relative, customer, supplier, or your boss. And they're just downright difficult people. Or sometimes people just say jerks. Okay? So this is compassion for jerks. Now, we would avoid them if we could, but you know, you can't. You can't avoid difficult people all the time because they're going to be in our lives in one way or another. And at least there's one person who's difficult. Probably there's a few. And I've had my fair share of them too. And it's not easy to learn how to, you know, develop a sense of empathy and compassion towards them. So how can we approach doing this? So I usually take on this matters of compassion my advice, my teachings from the Dalai Lama. And he said, if you can cultivate the right kind of attitude, your enemies are your best spiritual teachers because their presence provides you with the opportunity to enhance and develop tolerance, patience, and understanding. So your enemies are your best spiritual teachers. So if we have difficult people in our lives, I guess we ought to thank them for being in our lives because they can be our good spiritual teachers. Zen Master Sung San also said it in a different way. He said, if somebody praises me, yeah, okay, not so interesting. But someone who criticizes me, that's good medicine. Good medicine. So, why should we try to develop compassion for jerks? I mean, why not just, you know, brush them off or deal with them as we normally do with some aggression or anger? Well, there is actually a very important implication for our own happiness. If we can generate compassion for difficult people. First, scientific research tells us that when we hold resentments or grudges against others, focusing on these negative aspects really narrows our field of awareness. Okay? As a result, we're less likely to notice any positive things about the other person because we're so consumed by what we see as their shortcomings and their awfulness. So, as a result, we're less likely to notice any positive things about the other person because we're so consumed by this. And we're caught in this negative self-reinforcing cycle. And then we actually end up making suffering for ourselves and also for others through this kind of negative thinking. So I was really impressed by how the Dalai Lama, when he was asked about the Chinese, how he felt towards them. The Chinese government of the time invaded his country, Tibet, in 1959 and drove him into exile into India, in Dharamsala. So he said, after taking over Tibet, the Chinese government really suppressed Tibetan culture and tried to destroy it. And I know this because we had a trip to Tibet many years ago, and the monks in Tibet weren't even allowed to hang a picture of the Dalai Lama. If they were found with this picture, they would be punished. And what they did was actually to hide the Dalai Lama's picture behind another portrait. And when some people, guests who came, who they knew were friendly, they would then show them this picture of the Dalai Lama. So, yeah, that was the situation then, and I guess still now. So, but then, despite all this bad action towards Tibetan people and their culture, the Dalai Lama actually said that he felt more sympathy and concern towards them because of this negative and selfish thinking they had in their minds. He actually held no anger or resentment towards them. And as he said those words, I was watching a YouTube video of it. He actually had a very peaceful, calm face. He wasn't angry, that's just how things are. That's how the Chinese government treated Tibetan people. So then he said, well, if we all had a sense of warm-heartedness towards each other in this world, then we could have genuine world peace. And war would be something that would be completely forgotten about. But this genuine warm-heartedness is very hard to do. But if we can do it, then we can have real peace. So when we hear the Dalai Lama talk about it, we think, wow, he's a very realized being. He has attained a lot of wisdom, a lot of spiritual attainment. It sounds really wonderful, but we think, can I, an ordinary sort of person, ordinary mortal, actually be able to do the same thing for the difficult people in our lives? So, before I answer that, let's think about the flip side of this, where we continuously hold resentments and grudges against someone that we know. Now, I don't personally do this, but I know of one or two people who have this resentment that they cannot let go. And they often bring it up in their lives, even though maybe the events that caused them to be resentful happened many, many years ago, they still hold this anger or hatred or resentment in their hearts. And each time they bring it up, it causes them suffering because they're reliving this experience. So then their minds are filled with these negative thoughts of anger, dislike, or even, hatred towards the person that that wronged them, perhaps, in their mind. So it's actually quite toxic for our own well-being to keep all this negative and unwholesome thinking in our minds and also in our bodies. And this whole thing just eats away at our happiness. So if you think, well, what's a little bit of resentment going to do? Just think about this. If you're a person who keeps resentments and grudges, would you like to be friends with someone like that, like this? Someone who always brings up grudges against, oh, this person did this to me that many years ago, and it's the same old story. Would you like to be friends with someone like that? That's a very good question, because a person who has these grudges and resentments also carries a lot of negative energy about with them, and this can, affect the people around them. So, if you don't want to be a person like that, is there anything that we can do to change this kind of toxic mindset and develop compassion for the people that we find really difficult in our lives? So, I'm not saying that we've got to become an angel and be like peace and love to everyone and anyone. I think a more realistic goal is to be able to practice this compassion so that you can tolerate a difficult person. You can be in their presence and not harbor ill will towards them. So we don't want to get caught up in this Schadenfreude, which is German. It's a German word for taking pleasure in somebody else's misfortune or pain. I think the Germans have a word for just about everything. So Schadenfreude just means that someone you don't like suffers something and you feel pleased about it. So how do we get to this point where we can tolerate the behavior? I mean, can we get to the point where we can tolerate the behavior and company of difficult people or the people that we really dislike? So the answer is yes, we can. And we can do this through practicing the kind of meditation that we've been doing on Thursdays, loving kindness, or also known as metta meditation, because this sort of meditation develops our compassion and our connection towards others. And in one part of it tonight, we offered loving kindness wishes to a slightly difficult person in our lives. So we start taking small steps, and then we can progress to more difficult people and still offer the same blessings to them until the point where you're happy to offer them loving kindness in the same way as you would to a good friend or somebody who is kind to you. So then also the awareness of your own reactions, feelings, emotions towards difficult people gets better, it develops. So then you're more aware of how it feels. Quite often we're not aware of what it feels like to dislike someone, what it physically feels like in our body. So one of the other practices is to really come back to your body. Oh, I really don't like this person, makes me feel really uncomfortable, or oh, I really don't like this person. How does it feel in your body? Come back to the physical body, and that takes you away from all this kind of mind spinning. So these you can also think of yourself as being the driver of your own car, and then your emotions or your feelings are like the child passengers in the back seat. So sometimes these children can get really noisy. You know, like maybe you you're just about to encounter a difficult person, and then one of the children shouts out, "That person on the street there, I really don't like. We don't really like him at all. He always says nasty, triggering things to us, which upset us. Let's run him over." You know. So if you're an adult, you don't allow that particular child to climb into the driver's seat and take the wheel. So with the help of loving kindness practice, you can start to calm the child down and not let them run over the person that you don't like. So this practice of loving kindness allows us, gives us some space, and also makes us more alert to how, excuse me, how our emotions or feelings are starting to overwhelm or to control us. So I had an interesting experience a few weeks ago, and I was visiting my favorite noodle stall, and it was just after lunchtime, and all the tables were taken. This is a stall by the side of the road outside. So I looked around, couldn't find anywhere to sit, except I saw one table with 3 chairs, and there was only one woman sitting there, a slightly elderly woman. So it's pretty normal here to just share tables when all the tables are taken, so you just sit down. And so I just looked at her, she didn't say anything, and I sat down on one of the chairs. Then, as she saw me sitting down, she just kind of waved at me like that, you know. And she went, tss, tss, tss. She didn't say anything. She's like, tss. Then, when I got that, my first reaction was to be annoyed, you know. I was like, you know, what she want? Why is she so rude? So I almost said to her, you know, Auntie, it's a free country, you know. We can sit where we want when there's empty seats. But something made me stop. I just like, kind of bit my tongue. And I paused and I looked around and I saw an elderly gentleman getting a drink next to her. Then I kind of guessed, you know, that must be her husband. So, and I'm probably sitting on his seat. So I got up and then moved to another chair. And sure enough, he sat down in the chair I just vacated. So I still had this kind of like uncomfortable feeling, like why did she not just say something? Was she so kind of rude, like swatting away a mosquito? And then I just kind of observed. And as I ate my noodles, I watched them out of the corner of my eye. They were sharing just only one plate of fried rice. And I don't know, maybe they couldn't afford 2 plates because they weren't dressed very well. They were just dressed like normal. Normal. I don't know what normal means to you, but they were just like not in very nice clothes, but okay, you know, not dirty. And so anyway, first the wife ate some, then she paused, then she pushed the plate to the husband. And then the husband would eat a little bit, then he would stop and he would push the plate back to the wife, who then started to eat. And in this, you know, and it happened a number of times. And in this whole kind of exchange of food, they never said a word, you know, until they finished the meal and ate all the rice. And the way they did it really looked very kind of sweet and caring and loving, you know. So I was really glad I didn't say anything rude to her, because it was obvious that they both cared for each other quite a lot. So I was very fortunate. I didn't create a difficult situation. You know, even though I thought this was a difficult woman, initially I thought, yeah, it's what a rude woman. But in this case, this practice of loving kindness, at least it worked a little bit this time, just to give me a little bit of space to ground myself and and see what was really happening, rather than just to go "Rah, rah, rah, rah," back at her, which would not have been very nice. So that was a very interesting experience. So I think we can all experience that. You know, when somebody says something unkind or uncalled for towards us, we don't always have to hit back. We can just like, maybe they're having a bad day, you know. We don't know. We don't know what goes on behind other people's lives. And we've all experienced it, you know. Maybe before, in the morning when we woke up, we argued with our partner, then came to work. So we're in a foul mood and then we'll snap at someone. They don't know that you've had an argument with your partner. All they see is this aggression. But if we are less reactive, we can start to see that. And then we can have a sense of empathy and compassion with others. That, oh, give them some space. Maybe they had a hard morning, and that's why they came to work in a bad mood. So we don't always have to like react, react negatively to whatever comes our way. And I think that remembering the Dalai Lama's reaction to what the Chinese did to his country is a very good teaching for us, you know. He is in exile, and he said, actually, I think in one of the documentaries about him, said, actually being in exile was a very good thing, you know. So he can actually turn the situation around and be grateful for being exiled from his country, because he was able to accomplish. He said that he was able to accomplish a lot more than if he was just stuck in Tibet and, you know, being this kind of like holy figure who's also the leader of the country. So yes, so that's how we can develop compassion for others, having empathy, and then also practicing this loving kindness practice that will slowly and automatically help you develop a deeper sense of connection and compassion for others, difficult people or not. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us at this new time. We will continue to do our practice starting at 8:30 p.m. Malaysia time from now on. And so the next session will be on Monday, 8:30 p.m. Malaysia time. We've also changed the day. So it's going to be on Mondays and Thursdays from now on. So thank you for joining us again, and thank you for your practice. Take care and have a lovely end to the week. Bye-bye.